Hi everyone. I'm doing this video because some of you just discovered me since I did my interviews of Jimmy Dore and Lee Camp. But I've been an activist and an organizer here in Los Angeles since about 2004, and I've posted a lot of videos to my YouTube channel that some of you may want to scroll down and look at. The video that I'm attaching to this commentary that I'm making right now is not on my channel, but it was on Feel the Burn TV, which was Dave Conan's channel, which he had up during the entire Bernie Sanders campaign. And I actually started my show, The Robust Opposition, on his YouTube channel, which by then was renamed Our Revolution TV. Now, this video was produced during the May 2016 Break Free rally in Los Angeles. And this was to get us off of fossil fuels. There were thousands of people in downtown Los Angeles, and I was there in my capacity as lead organizer of Los Angeles for Bernie. I always tell people that for one solid year, I was a walking billboard for Bernie. I had about 15 Bernie Sanders t-shirts, and I wore one of them every single day and did many, many events. So in this video, because it was just about a week before the deadline to register to vote, and we wanted to let people know that Bernie Sanders was the only candidate who had pledged to ban fracking. So I asked Bill if he would mention this on the stage when he spoke, and he told me that his organization, 350.org, is a 501c3, a nonprofit corporation, and is not allowed to mention candidates. Even the nurses, they couldn't even mention Bernie by name. They had to say, and the candidate we support, and you know who that is. And I think this is really preposterous because many of us have given up control of the environmental movement to these nonprofit organizations, which I have called the nonprofit industrial complex, many of whom are very tepid and do not want to take the radical actions necessary because they're trying to get funding from foundations, and many of these foundations have people on their boards who are part of the fossil fuel industry. And many of these organizations in the nonprofit industrial complex, and two of the worst are the Environmental Defense Fund and the Natural Resources Defense Council, and then coming up in third place would be the League of Conservation Voters. Many of these groups sponsor these really weak tea bills that really don't do anything to regulate fracking or address climate change, but instead they're able to say at the end of the year, look at this great legislation we supported, now send us money. There are exceptions, of course, and Food and Water Watch is one of my favorite groups, and they are still fighting to shut down Aliso Canyon. And I'm going to be doing a show with one of their organizers, because why that is not being shut down is that Jerry Brown's sister, our governor's sister, Kathleen Brown, sits on the board of Sempra Energy, which owns the Aliso Canyon gas storage facility, which many of you may know was the site of the largest methane leak in U.S. history a few years ago. Jerry Brown also won't ban fracking because he has taken about $10 million from the oil and energy industry. But in any case, in this video, I also interview Joe Galliani, who is with 350 South Bay. They have a lot of refineries there. Carson actually tried to ban fracking, and Jerry Brown and the Occidental Petroleum and the unions, actually, I've mentioned this on my videos before, worked together to stop that ban. So now Beverly Hills remains still the only city, along with some counties, to have banned fracking in California. Thanks for subscribing. Please follow me on Facebook and Twitter as well.
Last Saturday at City Hall in downtown Los Angeles, hundreds of people from around Southern California participated in the final weekend of Break Free 2016, a global action to show what the climate movement can do to break free from fossil fuels. Bernie Sanders has the boldest plan to address climate change, and Steiner of LA for Bernie made sure that he had a strong showing.
Here to do voter registration. I could use 3 volunteers, and I'm going to have this lady train you right now.
Lauren is a fearless volunteer and activist with more energy than Bernie, and she knows literally everybody.
Dave, you want me to do an interview with Bill McKibben?
Absolutely.
So this is Lauren Steiner with Los Angeles for Bernie. I'm here with Bill McKibben, who needs no introduction because he was the one that brought global warming to the world's attention with his book, The End of Nature, back in 1989. Bill is here to speak at this big climate march, the Break Free March, and I'm here to talk to Bill about Bernie Sanders in particular, because I know that Bill has endorsed him. Bill, what do you want to tell our viewers about Bernie Sanders?
Well, you know, I always got to help introduce Bernie the day that he launched his campaign in Burlington last summer. And I don't think anybody, maybe even including Bernie, thought back then that it was going to turn into quite what it's turned into. Really the most remarkable political spectacle of our time. And I think the most beautiful thing about it, and the thing that's truest to Bernie as a man and a politician, is the slogan that he's been using, "Not me, us." That's the most beautiful political slogan of my lifetime, you know, and it's exactly what he believes. He's a movement guy, and around movements like climate change, he's been there absolutely from the beginning, completely stalwart, the person we could count on over and over and over again.
Great. Well, I wanted to let you know that here in Los Angeles and here in California, we've been working very hard since 2012 to get a ban on fracking. I worked, you might be interested to know, with the Republican mayor of Beverly Hills to get that city to be the first city in California to ban fracking. And since then, we've had a couple of counties and another city. Carson just did it. What would you like to tell the people about the importance of continuing to work on these local fights even after this campaign is over?
So one of the things we're learning, of course, is that all these fights, the environmental fights, are all both local and global at the same time. And so the people who are managing to ban fracking wherever they're doing it, close to home, in their state, in their town, in their county, they're doing a good thing to defend where they live, and they're also doing a good thing to defend the planet that we live on. We can't control climate change if we keep expanding fracking and natural gas and oil and everything all over the place. It really is time to keep it in the ground.
Great. And I want to invite you, we're doing a fracking rally up in Kern County on Sunday, May 22nd, because they're fracking right in the farm fields there. And 70% of the farm workers' children are going to school with inhalers. So we're going to have a big rally there with environmental justice activists. We're hoping that Bernie can make it. We don't know his schedule until 2 days before, but we'd like to invite you, and thank you for all your work all these years.
Thank you so much. And the stuff that's going on in Kern County is just absolutely emblematic of what environmental justice is all about.
Great. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. We've learned one thing from Keystone and from all these other fights. It's that when we fight, we win.
In my view, if we are serious about safe and clean drinking water, if we are serious about clean air, if we are serious about protecting the health of our children and our families, if we are serious about combating climate change, we need to put an end to fracking, not only in New York and Vermont, but all over this country.
I don't see any Hillary people.
In the ground. Jerry Brown. Keep that oil in the ground.
Well, it's kind of what democracy looks like. Voting, actually, is what democracy looks like.
That's for Bernie!
Okay, so here I am again, Lauren Steiner with LA for Bernie, with my good friend and fellow activist Joe Galliani from 350 South Bay. He was the MC of the event. Tell me how you felt it went today from your perspective, Joe.
Well, it was fantastic to see so many people, so many Bernie supporters specifically, but so many people in Los Angeles, from San Francisco, from South and San Diego, all turning out to try to break free from fossil fuels and do what Bernie's been saying, end the fossil fuel era and begin the 100% renewable era. So I felt it was a great day, as always too many speakers, always too much talking. So many people want to say things, are passionate. So many allies are part of this. So there doesn't seem to be any way around that, but we're here in the streets marching now. It's a beautiful sight to see Bernieites and people of color and people in frontline communities all united, same common ground, all with the same mission.
All right, we've got one more week till the registration deadline. What do you want to tell all the Bernie supporters out there watching that they need to be doing in the next 7 days?
Time to double down. Time to not believe anything you hear. Put your nose to the grindstone, do the work. The people that do the work, the people that get the votes out, those are the pros, those are the people that win. I believe that Bernie will win if we do the work.
Right. Now, the work also includes addressing some of the local issues that you and I have been fighting for the past several years. Why don't you briefly list some of the things that we're fighting here in Los Angeles County and down by your way?
Happy to, and actually unhappy to. Where I live in Torrance, within a 12-mile circle of my house are 6 refineries, 2 of the nation's largest ports, and the Los Angeles International Airport. That 12-mile circle has the highest particulate matter readings anywhere in the country, the dirtiest air, and it's mostly people of color and low means who live in fence-line communities in Wilmington and San Pedro and Carson and Inglewood and other places down in the harbor area that suffer the worst. And people think that it's beautiful, sunny, and delightful here in Los Angeles. We are choking on carbon, and they're trying to shove more down our throats every day.
Now, we just had 2 regulatory captures, meaning we had 2 major agencies, the Coastal Conservancy and the South Coast Air Quality Management, have a changeover in staff and executive directors. The good environmentalists were out, the corporate shills were put in. What can people watching this do about that regulatory capture, which is actually going to make things on our coastline and in our air quality worse?
Yeah, we've given the keys to the criminals now. They've actually said that they want to be more concerned with how this impacts business than it does the environment, and that is myopic. Because anyone that knows this topic, like Bernie does, knows that our salvation economically is to transfer to 100% renewable. That's where the jobs are. That's where the investment is. That's where the workforce development is. We are fighting the most evil, rogue, and reckless industry on the face of the planet in the history of this world. Nobody told us it was going to be easy. But we have got to be the patriots that we are. We have to be like our greatest generation. When they bombed Pearl Harbor, some people wanted to deny it and run away from the smoke and the fire, and other people ran toward the danger to try to do what patriots do. That's how I look at Bernie people, and that's how I look at climate people.
That's great. Thank you so much, Joe. And thank you to all you watching. And we are now going to run to try to catch up with the march.
If elected president, I will take on the fossil fuel industry. Their short-term profits are not more important than the future of this planet.